Time to lay the foundation for our home, literally. Everything else in our EARTHSHIP building project was reliant on the concrete footings being finished, so we are delighted that they are completed and will tell you all about how we got here in this video.
Hi there, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Lorana. Welcome to Hole in the Ground.
This is the beginning of our journey to build our EARTHSHIP home,
which we affectionately call a hobbit hole,
in beautiful Idaho.
Like we mentioned in our last video, we needed to find a concrete contractor before our dirt work could begin. We are learning that contractors can be hard to get a hold of, and I guess in this market they are in such high demand that we had to reach out to quite a few before we found someone who would commit to the job.
We didn't help a whole ton with this part other than burying some 6-inch PVC sleeves for plumbing purposes so that we wouldn't have to compromise the footings by digging them after the fact. Our concrete contractor built a bunch of forms and tied together lots of rebar per our engineering specs. He elected to do the footings in 3 separate pours and ensured that there was plenty of exposed rebar to properly tie the different pours together. The footings that the tires will be built on are 1 foot tall and 4 feet deep, wrapping around 3 sides of the home and including the side wings. The center footing is mostly 1 foot tall, and also 18 inches on each end where the shear wall is, and 18 inches deep, with the main load-bearing portions being 3 foot by 3 foot by 12 inches. These areas are where the 6x6 Simpson post beams are set, which will be what supports the roof of the home. The front south-facing footing is shaped like an inverted T, with the bottom section being 1 foot tall and 3 feet deep, and the wall portion being 2 feet tall and 1 foot deep, for a total of 3 feet of vertical height. The footings also called for an absolute boatload of number 4 rebar that we're pretty sure was in much higher concentrations than found in most typical residential footings.
One thing we adjusted was to have higher PSI concrete. The plans called for 2,500 PSI concrete, but both our dirt and concrete contractors felt like that didn't make any sense, since basically all footings around our area are built using 3,500 PSI mud. That is what we decided to upgrade our footings to, especially since we want this home to last forever. The front south-facing footing was also adjusted. The engineering plans called for the front footing to mostly only be 12 inches tall, excluding those shear wall areas. So we also elected to upgrade the whole thing to the specs mentioned in the previous section. For extra strength, but also to achieve adequate frost protection. Our county requires 30 inches of depth.
I was in charge of scheduling the inspections, which were to check the forms and rebar and to compare them to the engineered drawings. And between some miscommunications and misunderstandings, we did end up failing the first inspection. It wasn't a huge deal, and our concrete guy was able to get in touch with the inspector to explain what was going on. Because we did this over 3 separate pours, we had to get 3 separate partial inspections as the project went along, but once the initial hurdles were resolved, everything went pretty smoothly.
Not thrilled to have so much concrete in this construction because concrete is really not a sustainable building material. Concrete production is responsible for 7% of the world's industrial carbon emissions. The process of limestone calcination needed to make cement releases a lot of CO2, and then even more energy is required to fire kilns that turn raw materials into usable cement. It also uses a ton of water to cool the baked materials. Greener concrete solutions do exist, but not in the area where we live. Concrete is hard to beat in terms of its affordability, durability, and strength. Part of why we chose the geomesh option that we talked about in our plans and permits video was to eliminate the need for more concrete buttresses in the house. So we tried to balance using less concrete while also adhering to the engineering specifications. And I guess we can rest easy knowing that our house is not going anywhere.
Now that our concrete footings have been poured and have had time to cure, it's time for the part you are all here for, the tire wall.